Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to welcome all the participants to this international investor conference on renewable energy. I'm very pleased that this event is taking place in Maldives today. It is an important milestone and culmination of very hard work over the past couple of years. We are here today because a lot of people worked really hard. I think most importantly, our staff of the Ministry of Environment and Energy, but also our partners in the international community, particularly the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, the United Nations, and many other colleagues who have worked very closely with the Maldives to make this happen. We began discussions on this a few years ago, but there was a lot of talk and very little action. And so I'm really happy that within the last year and a half or so, the project has really accelerated. And today, we are able to hold this very historical conference in the Maldives. You are all aware that Maldives is one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change. The scenarios for climate change are not looking good. Every time we get new research, it indicates to the contrary. To our hopes that the international community will be able to pull its act together and prevent further deterioration of climate. But this is not the case. What we know today is not encouraging. The international community's attention to climate change issues has not been consistently encouraging to us. The UNFCCC process hasn't really led to results that will make us particularly happy. Nevertheless, Maldives continues to be a very strong advocate, and every international conference that we attend, we stand up along with other small island countries to impress on the world community the importance of quick action in preventing global warming. Energy sector clearly contributes to the major part of greenhouse gas emissions. And last year alone, we are told that CO2 emissions grew by 1.4% to reach 31.6 gigatons in 2012 alone. This trend points to a long-term temperature increase of about 5.3 degrees Celsius. This is clearly way above the limits where Maldives can continue to exist. So we hope that such negative trend will not continue, that we will be able to do something to avert it. As a result, the focus has to be put on the energy sector globally, and the international community must find ways to cut CO2 emissions from the energy sector. Of course, it's not that we don't know what needs to be done. Often, it's because there is little political will and weak cooperation among public and private sector to find solutions. We are told that government action sometimes aggravates the problem, such as heavy subsidies for fossil fuel. Little attention to energy efficiency. And so in Maldives, we are determined to address these two particularly. We are currently spending far too much on the energy sector. In 2012 alone, we spent $470 million on importation of fossil fuel. This is 35% of our GDP. I don't think there's any other country that is spending this kind of money on energy. For everything that we do here, for the food we eat, for the shower that we take, and for the trip we take from the airport, all consume fossil fuel. The development of this country is now at a crossroad where we cannot make further rapid progress until we address the issue of energy. That is why my government has set up a separate ministry for environment and energy. The environmental imperative is obviously there, but for us, a developmental imperative is more urgent. Today, we are spending enormous amount of our resources, not only for the purchase of this, but also for providing subsidies. Our people, majority of the people in this country can no longer afford energy at the current prices. Every time there is a change of oil prices, it gives shockwaves to our economy and our livelihoods. Today, we are spending about $12 million a year on subsidies, on fuel subsidies. So we decided that we needed to take this really seriously and do something about it. The electricity is the most severely affected area. We do use electricity for literally all the things that I mentioned. But because of our geography, we have our small population that is scattered over so many islands, it is difficult for us to have a nationwide grid. Malay region, with a population of total about 120,000 now, is the largest population concentration. The second largest is about 20,000. Third is about 10,000. And then the rest are less than that. So we have a situation where we have to find solutions to a large number of small communities. And because of that, currently, per hour unit cost of electricity ranges from 30 cents all the way up to 70 cents. And I don't think any country in the world spends 70 US cents for a kilowatt hour of electricity. But because of low efficiency, old equipment, wastage, and the high per capita investment costs, Our electricity prices are currently unaffordable in many islands. As a result, the government has to provide subsidies, sometimes to the entire island. So this situation obviously cannot continue for long. And that's why we have decided that we must invest in renewable energy in order for us to be able to make the next leap forward in our development, in our country's development. True, when you come to Maldives, you will see beautiful resorts like this. Everybody complains Maldives is so expensive. And one of the reasons why Maldives is so expensive is because energy cost is so expensive. We can provide a tourism product that is of high quality, even at a higher scale, increased scale, at lower cost, if we can tackle the issue of energy costs. I'm pleased that so many of you are here for this very important conference. This is an event that will make or break this country. That's why for us, it is so important. I'm really happy that so many of you have come from the private sector, international corporations, also from domestic local companies, also representatives of so many multilateral international banks, government and intergovernmental agencies to this conference. We started by attracting investors for some time now, but on this scale, we are able to go ahead because of the support we have received from World Bank through CIF for the development of the scaling up of renewable energy project. Now we have an action plan. We know what we need to do because it took some time for us to figure this out. With such a large investment, of course, there are also various forces that come in. Sometimes you don't move as fast as you like to. But I'm happy to know that Maldives is one of the first countries that has actually developed this action plan and is able to move forward now. We work with many other developing countries, particularly small island developing countries. I believe we are the first to hold such a conference. And therefore, I'm really happy this is happening. We have already, in this country, set a feed-in tariff. The climate for investment is ready. I believe that during these 2 days that you are here, you will be able to identify projects that you can relate to, that you can find ways of contributing to the development of Maldives, but also that makes commercially good sense. The solutions that we need to find here are not just in the energy sector. The energy sector solutions have to be also linked to other sectors. So we need to look into integrated solutions that will solve, in addition to the electricity problems of waste management and water. Already, I would think about half of this country's population already live on desalinated water. All the resorts, over 100 of them, the entire Greater Malay region, and many other islands now depend on desalinated water. Because climate change is affecting us more severely than most people like to believe. Storm surges, rough weather, beach erosion, all these things are affecting groundwater level in many of the islands. So fresh water lens in most of the islands getting contaminated. As a result, this groundwater is no longer it's no longer fit to be used even for cleaning purposes. It didn't used to be the case in Maldives. Most of the people in this country consumed groundwater, even in Malé. But that situation has changed over the last 25 to 30 years. It has changed rapidly. We used to be self-sufficient in water. Water didn't used to be a problem in this country. Those who had the means, even in poor communities, tried to harvest rainwater as far back as 50, 60 years ago. And today also, we use a lot of rainwater for drinking purposes. But most of the washing and other needs were through groundwater. Groundwater used to be fresh and sweet water. But we've lost that now. And I believe, to a large extent, climate change is responsible for that. Also, man-made causes are there. We don't deny that. So we need to address the issue of water. Already, for several years now in Malé, we have been using an integrated approach to electricity production and water desalination. Our local companies like MWSC, the Maldives water company, they're already starting to introduce this in selected islands. Recently, I was at the inauguration of such a plant in Ra Atoll, Duafar. That's the kind of solution, that's the kind of future that we need to look at for electricity, water, and waste management in our islands. I'm really happy that some of the tourism sector participants are also here. Because in this country, our development has been spearheaded by the tourism sector. Most of the investment has gone into that sector. Most of the innovation is in the tourism sector. And therefore, it's important that tourism sector takes the lead. I believe it is consistent with the philosophy and the vision for a clean, progressive Maldives to have its primary sector take this kind of leadership. I believe it is possible for resorts to become carbon neutral. I already see that there are several entrepreneurs, local entrepreneurs, who have the ambition of creating carbon neutral resorts. It's possible. And even those like Bandos have been here for the last 40 years are already engaged in this kind of projects. I hope that there will be discussion between the resort owners and the investors who are here in Maldives today to find some solutions to that effect. I wish you a very productive two-day meeting. I'm really happy you are here. I welcome you all to the Maldives. I hope you will have a few hours of sun, because it's the rainy season already. But please enjoy your stay in the Maldives. And please consider this a challenge for each one of you. We have a beautiful nation. We are prepared to work with you. We have the possibility, for the first time, to create one country that is carbon neutral It's one country that leads the way in renewable energy and energy efficiency, and to lend ourselves as an example to other countries. So please become part of this project. Be our partners, and together let's find a solution for the Maldives first, but I believe that will create the way for a world that is a better place. So thank you for being here. Wish you all the best.